There is something happening in your life right now that you cannot explain. Something is moving, something is shifting, something is being arranged, and you had nothing to do with it. You didn't plan it. You didn't ask for it. You may not even be aware of it yet. But I want you to know, with every part of me that knows anything at all, that there is a force in this universe that never stops working. Never. Not for 1 second. Not on your worst day. Not in your darkest hour. Not when you feel like everything has fallen apart. That force, that invisible intelligence, that power that holds the stars in place and makes the flowers grow without anyone telling them to, that same power is at work in your life. Right now, at this very moment, the problem is not that this power is absent. The problem is that we have been trained to look for it in the wrong places. We have been taught to believe only what our eyes can see, only what our hands can touch, only what our minds can explain. And when we cannot see it, we decide it is not there. We look at our bank account and we say, God has forgotten me. We look at our health and we say, nobody is listening to my prayers. We look at our relationships and we say, I am alone in this world. But I am here to tell you today that what you see with your physical eyes is not the whole story. It is not even close to the whole story. What you see is only the surface. And under that surface, a masterpiece is being built. Think about how a seed works. You put a seed in the ground, you cover it with dirt, and then nothing. You don't see anything. You walk past that patch of ground every single day, and there is nothing there. No flower, no tree, no sign of life, just dirt. And if you only trusted what your eyes could see, you would say nothing is happening. You might even dig the seed back up and say this doesn't work. But the moment you do that, you have stopped something miraculous. Because underground, in the dark, in the silence, where no one can see, that seed is doing the most important work of its life. It is cracking open. It is reaching. It is pushing through the darkness toward a light it has never seen but somehow knows is there. You are that seed. And the darkness you are in right now, the difficulty you are facing, the silence where you once expected an answer that is not proof that God has abandoned you. That is proof that something is growing. Something is being prepared, and the preparation always happens where you cannot see it. I spent years of my life believing that if something was going to happen, I had to make it happen. I had to push. I had to force. I had to figure it out, plan it out, work it out, and then execute my plan with fierce determination. And I got results that way. I did. But they were always exhausting results. They were always results that left me feeling empty, like I had crossed one finish line only to find another one waiting for me. Because I was working from ego. I was working from the belief that this universe is a cold machine and that I am alone inside it, and that if I stop pushing for even one moment, everything will fall apart. And then something changed in me. Not overnight, slowly. The way a new season comes slowly. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly it is spring. It happens in small ways. One warm day here, a few buds on a tree there, a certain quality of light in the late afternoon. And then one day you realize that winter is over, and you don't know exactly when it left. That is how the change happened in me. Slowly, and then all at once. I began to realize that I was not the source of my own life. I began to realize that the very heartbeat inside my chest, the one that keeps going while I sleep, while I worry, while I doubt that heartbeat is not my doing. I did not program it. I did not design it. I cannot stop it or start it with my thinking. Something else is running that show. And if that same intelligence is running my heartbeat, then maybe, just maybe, it knows something about running my life too. Let me tell you what I have learned about the way this invisible intelligence works. It does not work on our timeline. This is the hardest thing for the modern human mind to accept, because we are a people who want fast results. We want to press a button and get an answer. We want to send a message and get a reply in seconds. We have been trained by our technology to believe that speed is the measure of effectiveness. If something is happening, it is happening fast. And if it is slow, something must be wrong. But the greatest things in this universe do not work fast. The greatest things work right. And right takes time. A mountain does not form in a day. An ocean does not carve a canyon in a week. A human being does not grow into their greatest self in a single season of effort. The universe has its own pace. And that pace has nothing to do with your impatience. Nothing. Your anxiety does not speed up the process. Your worry does not make the seed grow faster. All it does is make you miserable while the miracle is happening. And so the first thing I want you to practice, not just understand, but actually practice, is the willingness to trust a timing that you did not set and cannot control. I know that is not easy. I know it especially feels impossible when you are in pain, when you have been waiting for something for years, when you have prayed and prayed and prayed, and the answer still has not come in the form you asked for, when you have done everything right and things still feel wrong. I know how that feels. And I want to say something tender and true about that feeling. Your pain is real. Your waiting is real. Your exhaustion is real. I am not asking you to pretend that everything is fine. I am not asking you to put on a smile and perform positivity. What I am asking you to do is hold your pain in one hand and your faith in the other. Hold both at the same time, because both are true. Things are hard, and God is working. Both of those things are equally real. Now let me talk about something that most people never talk about when they talk about faith and trust in the universe working for you. Let me talk about what happens in the waiting. Because the waiting is where everything actually happens. Most people treat the waiting as the empty space between the prayer and the answer. They treat it as the hallway between two rooms, the boring part, the part you just have to get through until you reach the good stuff. But I want to suggest to you that the waiting is the good stuff. The waiting is where you are being shaped. The waiting is where the person you are becoming is being built, piece by piece, layer by layer, in ways you cannot see and would not choose if you could. Let me tell you why this matters. If you got everything you wanted exactly when you wanted it, you would not be ready for it. This is not a punishment. This is not God being cruel or withholding. This is just the simple truth of how growth works. A fruit that is picked before it is ripe is not sweet. A muscle that is never put under tension never grows. A child who is never allowed to struggle never learns to walk. The difficulty is not the enemy of the destination. The difficulty is the preparation for the destination. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows exactly how much difficulty you need to become the person who can actually hold the life you are asking for. Think about the people in your own life who you admire most. The people who carry a kind of depth and peace and strength that makes you want to sit close to them. Were those people formed in easy times? Were they people who never suffered? Were they people who got everything they asked for on the first try? No, almost never. Almost universally, the people who carry the most light are the people who have sat in the most darkness. Not because suffering is the point, but because suffering, when it is moved through with faith and not with bitterness, burns away everything that is not real. It burns away the masks. It burns away the false identities. It burns away the things we thought we needed but didn't. And what is left after that burning is something pure, something real, something that cannot be manufactured by any other process. So if you are in a hard season right now, I want you to hear me say this clearly. What is being burned away from you is not you. What is being burned away is the stuff that was covering you. The fear, the ego, the false beliefs, the ideas about yourself and the world that were never true to begin with. And what is emerging through that fire is the truest version of who you are. You may not be able to see it yet. You may feel like the fire is taking everything. But something is being revealed that could not have been revealed any other way. Now, I want to talk about something practical, because I believe in the practical application of spiritual truth. I don't just want you to feel good for an hour and then go home and fall back into the same patterns of fear and doubt. I want something to actually shift in the way you move through your days. Here is what I have found to be the most powerful practice available to any human being who wants to live in alignment with the force that is always working. Become a noticer. Become someone who pays attention to the small movements of grace in every single day. Because here is the thing, the force is always working, but it is usually working in small ways. It is working in the phone call that comes at just the right moment. It is working in the stranger who says exactly what you needed to hear. It is working in the book that falls off the shelf. It is working in the song that comes on the radio when you are in tears. It is working in the way the light falls on the trees outside your window and makes you feel, for just a moment, that everything is going to be okay. These are not coincidences. There is no such thing as coincidence. Coincidence is just the word we use when we have not yet understood the pattern. And the pattern, once you start to see it, is everywhere. The universe is constantly communicating with you. Constantly. It is leaving breadcrumbs. It is sending signals. It is arranging little miracles in the middle of your ordinary days. And all you have to do, the only work required of you, is to notice them. And when you notice them, to say thank you. Gratitude is not just a nice feeling. Gratitude is a frequency. When you operate at the frequency of gratitude, you become someone who can receive more. When you walk through your day saying, look at what I have been given, look at what is working. Look at what I did not deserve but was given anyway. When you do that, you are tuning yourself to the channel that the universe is always broadcasting on. You are making yourself available to the miracles that are always being sent but are only received by those who are looking for them. And I want to talk about what gets in the way of this, because something does get in the way. The thing that gets in the way is the voice in your head that says things are not okay. The voice that says you have been forgotten. The voice that catalogs everything that has gone wrong and presents it as evidence that the universe is against you. That voice has a name in many traditions. Some call it the ego, some call it the false self, some call it the monkey mind. I call it the roommate, because it is always there, it is always talking, and it is almost never saying anything helpful. And the great spiritual work of every human life is not to silence that voice. You cannot silence it. The work is to stop believing everything it says. The work is to hear it, acknowledge it, and then choose a different thought. The work is to say, yes, I hear you. You are saying that everything is falling apart and that I am not enough and that God has left the building. I hear all of that. And I am choosing to believe something different today. That choosing is not denial. It is not pretending. It is not toxic positivity. It is an act of spiritual courage. It is saying, I will not let the loudest voice in the room be the one that does not know what it is talking about. I will listen to the quieter voice, the one underneath all the noise, the one that says, you are loved, you are held, you are not alone, something is working, trust. That quieter voice is always there, always. But you have to get quiet to hear it. And in our world, in this noisy, busy, distracted world we have built for ourselves, quiet is the most countercultural thing there is. The willingness to sit still and be quiet, to turn off the screens, to put down the phone, to stop filling every silence with noise, that is a revolutionary act. Because in the quiet, you hear the truth. And the truth is that you have never been alone. Not for one single moment, not once. Let me tell you about a concept that has changed my life more than almost any other. It is the idea that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Read that again. Let it go all the way in. You are not primarily a body. You are not primarily a mind. You are not primarily a set of experiences and memories and beliefs and habits. All of that is real, but all of that is temporary, and all of that is on the surface. At the core of you, at the very center of your being, there is something that was never born and will never die. Something that exists before your name and after your body. Something that is, right now, connected to the same intelligence that runs this entire universe. And here is what that means practically. You have access. You have direct access to the force that is always working. You don't have to go through anyone to get to it. You don't have to earn your way to it. You don't have to be good enough or smart enough or successful enough. You are already connected. You have always been connected. The connection was never broken. You just forgot. Or maybe no one ever told you. Or maybe someone told you, but you didn't believe it yet. But it is true. The light is in you. The intelligence is in you. The love is in you. And when you go quiet enough to feel it, everything changes. Now, here is something I want you to sit with. The universe never wastes anything. Nothing in your life has been wasted. Not the pain, not the failure, not the loss. Not the years that felt like they were going nowhere. Not the relationships that ended badly. Not the opportunities that slipped through your fingers. Not one single thing has been wasted. Every experience you have had, every single one has been weaving itself into the fabric of who you are becoming. And who you are becoming is not an accident. It is not random. It is not the product of luck or circumstance. It is the product of a precise, loving, intelligent process that has been running from the moment you were born. I want to say something here about the nature of God or the universe or whatever word works for you. I am not going to tell you what to believe about the nature of the divine. What I am going to tell you is what I have come to know through decades of reading and learning, and most of all through my own living, about the character of this intelligence that underlies everything. And here is what I know. It is not punishing. It is not withholding. It is not keeping score. It is not waiting for you to get it right before it will love you. It is love. The whole thing is love, from the first atom to the last star, from the smallest cell in your body to the largest galaxy in the sky. Love is the organizing principle of this universe. And love, by its very nature, never stops working on behalf of what it loves. So the next time you feel forgotten, I want you to try something. I want you to say out loud, if you can, I am being worked on right now. I cannot see it, but I know it is true. Something is being arranged in my favor. Something is being prepared, and I choose to trust the process even when I cannot see the progress. Say that to yourself, and then watch what happens to your body. Watch the tension start to release. Watch your breath start to slow down. Watch the knot in your stomach start to loosen. Because your body knows truth when it hears it. Your body responds to faith the way a flower responds to sunlight. It opens, it softens, it comes alive. I want to talk for a moment about the people who are carrying the heaviest loads right now. The ones who have been waiting the longest. The ones who have prayed until their prayers felt hollow. The ones who have hoped until hope itself felt like an act of foolishness. I want to talk directly to you. I see you. And I want to say something that I know to be true at the deepest level. The fact that you are still here is the miracle. The fact that you have not given up even when giving up would have been so much easier, that is not weakness. That is the greatest strength there is. And I want you to know that the waiting you have been doing has not been wasted. Every day you kept going, something was building. Every morning you got up when you didn't feel like it, something was being strengthened in you. Every prayer you said into what felt like silence, something heard it. The silence is not emptiness. The silence is fullness that has not yet taken a form.